party, don't mind them. If I don't belly on me, you buy them. My time don't count me, oh. I baby, oh. Every day, oh. Showers of blessing rain on me. Share the money where you want, oh. I'll be your fair amount, oh. Time me don't come, oh. Baby, happiness knocking, prosperity something. I'm blessing calling, oh. Baby, I should you up, oh. Wherever we go, victory when not the finish. I need to be you. Look, you know go run down. No more tension, no wala. Do the all I want lay. Oh, what's it there? How's it all out? I don't feel gentle. I don't be a little guy if you believe. Oh, Shami, oh, I need to Shami, oh, I don't need it, oh, every day, oh, showers of blessing rain on me. Share the money where you want, oh, I'll be your fair amount, oh, time me don't come, oh. Happiness knocking, prosperity something. I'm blessing calling, oh. As you go, money go follow. Before you ask, go answer. I see me dele, all about me dele. Shana money where you want, oh. Be over a month, oh. Time me don't come, joy don't come. Happiness knocking, prosperity something. I'm blessing calling, make this love be sweet me for body.
Jerusalema ikayalami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana. Jerusalema ikayalami ilondoloze uhambe nami zungangishilana. Dawo yami alikolana, buso wami awukolana. Ilondoloze zuhambe nami. Dawo yami alikolana, buso wami awukolana. Ilondoloze dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Ilondoloze zuhambe nami, dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Ilondoloze zuhambe nami. Jerusalema ikhaya lami, ilondoloze uhambe nami, zungangishilana. Jerusalema ikhaya lami, ilondoloze uhambe nami, zungangishilana. Dawo yami ayikholana, buso wami awukholana. Ilondoloze zuhambe nami.
Shall we be in the moment of prayers, please? Can we all rise, please? Let's honor God.
Not her, just welcome the person. All right, is very important, and I want to say that we should be patriotic to the event proper. Let's take the national anthem. Of NDLEA, Commander, the NDLEA. We also have Udido Menete, he is the Director of Nigeria Air Force. We want to apologize to the Air Force. There's a mix-up there. So there is a head, there's a leader of the team from the Air Force. The leader of the team from the Air Force. Please, shall we see you now? I'm very sorry, sir. I want to correct all of that. We are having mix-up from my mistake with that. For the mix-up, and we hope to pay for that somehow. We are very sorry about that. Rear Admiral S.K. Ibrahim, welcome to the program, sir. Please to the head panel. of Air Staff, Air Commodore D.A. As a list come to us, we'll recognize other dignitaries in this program. At this time, we want to invite the DG to say something to us before we continue.
Yesterday, we really apologize for the inconveniences this might have caused you. NCDC, we have representatives from the office of the Secretary to the Federal Government of the Federation. We also have the representatives also from the Honorable Minister of representative of the Controller General of the Federal Fire Service, Mr. Obiseso, the representative of the ECRMI here. We also have representatives from the DGNTA, being Nigeria Special Agency Preparedness Week and Maiden Annual Emergency Response and Fire Chiefs Leadership Conference at Akwa-Ibom to ensure that this is successful. And God being our side is going to be very successful. My warmest regards also goes to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, who is going to chair the conference, also accepted to deliver keynote lectures at this conference. I want also to thank various organizations that have supported us in one way or the other towards making this conference a huge success. I appreciate every one of you. Lastly, I will wish to most sincerely express my appreciation to all of you here for participating in this annual conference. Some of us here might have gone to the previous venue, and I know the time it took you to find your way to this place. And rising the mind for resources. Today's emergency managers must possess a greater level of preparedness skills and knowledge. You must be prepared for climate change in those disasters. As a nation, how prepared are we? In view of the above, our guest speakers and other supporting speakers experiences, I express my profound appreciation for their acceptance of our invitations and presence at National Awareness Initiative designed to educate and enlighten Nigerians on concrete actions and steps. It's going to be a program for a whole week. We intend going out to the communities to when disaster happens, we will have the capacity and the readiness to respond to it. So it's a very call. And practical exercises, not just
the commandant of the Nigerian Air Force. All right, we also have the representative of the Federal Fire Service here. The representative of the Federal Fire Service.
I am Brigadier General O.T. Olatoye, the Acting Chief of Training.
Departments and agencies here present. Other distinguished special guests, council and fellows of the Emergency Crisis and women of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am due to national engagement. The Chief of the Naval Staff has asked that I do two things. Sincere apologies for not being able to keep a date for this distinguished audience. And secondly, annual Nigerian Special Emergency Preparedness Week and Maiden Annual Emergency Response and Fire Chiefs Leadership Conference holding in Uyo from 24th to 26th of the Chief of the Naval Staff. On behalf of the officers, ratings of leading emergency, crisis and disaster risk management professionals on the occasion of the third annual review Akwa-Ibom State. You will all agree with me that this conference will not have come at a better time than now, considering the global on the life-threatening issues that characterizes emergency, crisis, and disasters. The impact of emergency, crisis, and disasters in disruptions on proactive measures to mitigate and respond to eventualities in a well-coordinated manner. Undoubtedly, the business, diligent preparations, and robust execution. This is necessary in order to deal professionally with natural and man-made unexpected events which could cause significant, as well as institutional capability to contend with the risks associated with emergencies, crisis, and disaster. National Emergency Management Agency, prepared with equipment and machineries to support government agencies responding to emergencies, crises, and disasters. Additionally, naval medical centers are being continuously upgraded to expand their capabilities in handling victims of emergencies, crises, and disasters. For instance, the Imaging Center at the Nigerian Navy refers to complex health challenges requiring difficult scans, amongst others. This has greatly enhanced the Navy's ability in crisis. The Nigerian Navy is also deepening its monitoring and evaluation of the operating systems and safety procedures of its units to handle risks associated with emergencies. And standards and naval engineering branches at the naval headquarters are at the forefront of ensuring that responsible and productive society. On this note, I say thank you for inviting me. The need to ensuring adequate preparation and responding to emergency. I am pleased to inform
gentlemen of the press, all my dignified good participants. I welcome all of us again. I want to quickly apologize for coming behind the scheduled time, also to the environment and material losses. Ladies and gentlemen, disasters are potential threats to national development. Poverty Resource Agency. More importantly, there must be effective partnerships between public and private actors, comprising. We need to imbibe the principles of disaster risk reduction and inculcate the culture of prevention. And that's making our communities socially, economically, individuals, as communities, as organizations, and governments at all levels to pay particular attention as well as take part in the campaign against desertification, bush burning, even gas, life and the lives. This is given the much needed attention. Reassure us that the federal government under the leadership of President Muhammad to leave no stone unturned in protecting the precious life constructive. Thank you very much for listening. May God bless all of us.
Thank you, Special Area Commander. The NDLA is situated in the airport. The NDLA has constituted its Bible, as we call it, the National Drug Control Plan, to see how we can rid Nigerians of the drug menace. The NDLA also has recruited an additional 5
as amended by Act 50 of 1999. The core function of the agency can be summarized as the coordination of all activities necessary for managing emergencies and disasters. The NEMA Act equally gave legal backing to the establishment of state emergency management agencies, SEMAs, and the local government Emergency Management Authorities, LEMAs. Emergency and disaster management finds expression among these three organizations at their respective levels of governance. In line with its mandate to coordinate all activities relating, I hope there's no incident there.
Let's move on to the first gap. First systemic gap that was made apparent by COVID-19. Surveillance was heightened since January. Despite that heightened surveillance, the index case was imported into the country and discovered on the 27th of February, even though surveillance was heightened. Have unknown source of infection. Almost half of the cases, no known source. So there's a problem with our surveillance. That is the apparent conclusion there. Testing, because our borders were porous, they were able to get in, bringing in the disease and spreading it on and on. There is a gap there. We have fantastic plans on paper, but making it work is a challenge that we need to work on. In a country of 200 million people, that is not adequate. So we have key workers also complaining because in leading to the problem that we had, the crisis we had today, and maybe another word has entered our vocabulary, palliative. The palliative crisis. Because we do not have adequate social safety net, this created a problem and led to a lot of damage and devastation. Air Commodore mentioned, and in helping themselves, they might jeopardize or put all of us at risk. So this is another part that was lacking. Poorly coordinated social support system led to the pent-up anger, which led to a chain reaction. And hopefully later I will explore this a little bit better to see how the issue of complex system come into place. I wanted to highlight these because it becomes apparent that a lot of kids, a lot of our young ones, did not have access to education during this period, which means we never thought about what if. So, and we are going to have to pay for the damages to the education of many of our young people going forward. So, we need to do better. If a lot of people who do not have the wherewithal to send their kids to private secondary school and primary school, who are able to do online classes, their kids have to stay at home and learn nothing. This will have implications for social mobility and human capacity development going forward. So we need to think about these as we go out of this pandemic era. We need to do better. If we want to build back better, we need to do better. Some states, they have some things around radio and TV programs to help kids to learn. But how many people have electricity during that period? So even if there is a program on the TV, if you can't buy fuel into your generator or you do not have electricity, then it's still double jeopardy. So I mentioned the gaps in the health sector and guidance. People who do the wrong thing. So we don't blame them for doing the wrong thing. We blame ourselves for not providing adequate information. And this was apparent during this pandemic. Because the ease at which false information spread is so fast that the real information was playing catch-up. The social media, how do we use the traditional media, how do we leverage them better to better inform the public? Just trying to say it as it is. public education requires proper understanding of how to make people respond to the message. If we just do it as if we are doing advert for Maltina or whatever it is, that does not equate to public education. There are experts who can guide on how to do this. We did not do very particularly well at that, but we were still lucky. So let's not play that being lucky again. We might not be that lucky the next time this kind of situation strikes. We had problem with our science and technology education, because when people are not aware of the science that goes into making vaccines, that goes into making testing and so on, they can easily take on any information and they look at it as being true. And a lot of people circulated a lot of nonsense during this period. Handshakes, there has to be proper handshake on a regular basis so that people know you, they know that they can call on you, and then if you open your mouth and advise, they can believe what you say. We have been talking about, I think NEMA instituted the Center for Disaster Risk Management across the 6 zones, I think since 1999 or something like that. Zonal coordinator, remind me please. 2009, 2010. Okay. You see, that's why it's good to have experts in the house. Now. They know what you do not know. So, since 2010 that we have been developing capacity around disaster risk management, how many of our companies, institutions, even have disaster management plan or continuity plan? Organization from community level to the federal government level, we saw that we were caught napping. Okay? So these are some of the gaps that I identified looking at the whole scenario. I'm sure there are other gaps that other people will identify, but I just said I should limit it to 3. I kind of like three things. So I limited it to 3 things. That now brings us to the issue of complex systems and resilience. Everything is related to everything, but near things are more related than far things. That's the first law of geography. And the pandemic actually showcased the importance of geography. The disease started from somewhere, person moved, people got in contact, and they moved, and before you know it, it got to us. Spatial interaction. Going down fundamentally. We showed that during this period. Even though there are some problems along the way, the country showed a little bit of resilience. We are still trying to come out of the calamities or catastrophes caused by COVID-19, but we showed some resilience. However, I believe we need to do more in terms of resilience. Because what we have just shown is what we call engineering resilience. There was perturbation, and we are moving gradually back to the status where we used to be. That's my view. Okay? I do not represent any government agency or whatever. I'm just an academician. You know, we like to talk too much. So, an inclusiveness of every aspect of our society. Then, I have some other aspects around this circle. I have integrated data infrastructure, improvements in supply chain and resilience, supply chain resilience and circularity, focusing on the furthest behind first. I believe the CSO for AMCOM, did I get that right? I'm a very bad student sometimes, so CRO, yes. He highlighted something that whatever we do, we must mix information or contact or access very easily for those who could not afford to pay like I and every other person in this room could do. So, taking care of the furthest behind first will help us to achieve. I'm not happy that the NCDC representative left. I wanted to make this pointed at them because I've had a situation where I've asked, I've written, I've done all they asked me to do to get access to some data from them, because some of my students at the graduate level, they actually do some work on predictive analytics of where are we likely to have cholera, where are we likely to have this. So we have that capacity at the university level whereby we can look at data and make forecasts, make predictions. But when we do not work together to access the data, up till now I still do not have access to the data for COVID-19 other than the state level data. I could not use state level data to advise anyone. We know we have contagion hotspots, but when we don't see the data to do proper analysis, how do we work together to make the society better? Data is the fuel of the knowledge economy. If we don't work together, we will keep duplicating effort and wasting resources. I was involved with NEMA training across the 6 zones on disaster information management system. We trained people from all states on how to utilize the disaster information management system that is available. But I can assure you up till now, you said from Akwa-Ibom, I'll be glad to look at the data you have, because if we look at your data, we could be able to help better. Because everything, there's pattern to everything. Only if you look at the data carefully, you can find the pattern and you can help. Saving life is a worthwhile exercise. So when we work together, we can save life and we can develop better. Expense to secure yourself. There's somebody who knows how to break fence or climb the fence. So if we don't support one another and build an inclusive society, we will all be at risk. So that is what I was driving at with reorientating our priorities. Building agile and responsive institutions. When institutions work with data, when they synergize, not just synergizing on paper, when there's actually synergistic collaboration. Not that you go to the House of Assembly and try and fight for your budget, and then you get your budget into another person's budget so that you can get more. That is not synergy. That is competition. When we work together, our institution can be more responsive. Imagine as NCDC is getting data, they collaborated with data analytics across different parts of the universities, across the academia, and we are analyzing the data, they are analyzing, we are giving new insights, they are looking at the insight, they are comparing notes. We will do better. But when we see each other as competitors, ministries, departments and agencies, they consider each other, the state sees the federal agencies. I've heard of a situation where some NEMA agency representative go to the state government and the state government tell them you are APC people. Go away. How does that make us better? That does not help anybody. So we need to build agile and responsive institutions. And to do that, we need to work together using data, using technology. As the Air Commodore has mentioned, we have an app now. That app, other things can be built into it, as my honorable here at the IT has highlighted. Because now the infrastructure of the app is there, it's easy to add other things into it.
I want to spoil my mother. I want to shower your blessings, Father. I want to hammer. I want to spoil my mother. I want to shower your blessings, shower your blessings. See they show me pepe. See they call me tete. No be kanye tete. As I done they collect. See they one day connect. I want out to Thomas, like a sister comfort. Oh Lord, shower your blessings on me, blessings on me. Yo yo. start to the beef as I see the para. I find the love in my guitars, yeah. But as I see, yeah, I can no use my master play. Show back to the teller. This canteen on the shell. I know if you take a dead. I won't score goal like you belle. I said tell. This kind is stuck to the shell. I know if you take a dead. I won't score goal like you Cristiano Ronaldo. Oh Lord, shower your blessings on me. Blessings on me. Yo yo. Oh Lord, shower your blessings on me. Blessings on me. Yo yo. Father, I want to, I'm a hammer. I want to spoil my mother. I want to, shower your blessings, Father, I want to, I want to spoil my mother. I want to, shower your blessings.
Good morning, everyone. Please, first and foremost, I want to apologize to every one of us here for the sudden change of venue yesterday. We really apologize for the inconveniences this might have caused you. That is out of the country on official engagement. And other of our council members are still on their way. Some of them that are coming from Abuja, their flights are being delayed and all that. So definitely they will join us as the DG, NCDC. We have representatives from the office of the Secretary to the Federal Government of the Federation. We also have a representative from the Nigerian Army. Also have a representative from the Nigerian Navy, from the Nigerian Air Force, and also from the Honorable Minister of Health that will be joining us online. He will deliver his keynote address online. And we also have a representative of the Controller General of the Federal Fire Service, Mr. Obiseso, is representing the Controller General of Federal Fire Service here. We also have the representative of the DG NEMA here. We also have representative from AMCO that are also here. You are welcome, sir. We also have representative from the DG NTA being represented here also, and other dignitaries that are here. I want to please use this as a protocol. I welcome every one of you to this event. It is my honor and privilege to welcome all of you to this year 2021 annual Nigeria Special Emergency Preparedness Week and Maiden Annual Emergency Response and Fire Chiefs Leadership Conference at Akwa-Ibom State. I must first and foremost appreciate God Almighty for making today a reality. It wasn't easy since yesterday that we came in. We have been running around to ensure that this is successful. And God being our side is going to be very successful. My warmest regards also goes to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, who is going to chair the conference, as well as the Chief of Defense Staff, Honorable Minister of Health, and the Chief of Naval Staff, the Chief of Air Staff, and other dignitaries that are here today that are also accepted to deliver keynote lectures at this conference. I want also to thank various organizations that have supported us in one way or the other towards making this conference a huge success. I appreciate every one of you, notably Future Concerns Nigeria Limited. They have been very supportive. Even when we had our conference at Port Harcourt in July, they nominated 12 participants to that conference, and today also they nominated 12 participants to this conference. We appreciate you. My sincere appreciation also goes to our guest speakers. Some of them will be joining us online, while other ones will be physically here with us all through this period. I appreciate every one of you. Lastly, I wish to most sincerely express my appreciation to all of you here for participating in this annual conference. Some of us here might have gone to the previous venue, and I know the time it took you to find your way to this place. We appreciate you. We are really grateful. Let me also welcome our new inductees, especially those that will be conferred with the fellowship award of this institute tomorrow. And I use this opportunity to congratulate every one of them for their admission to the fold of the institute. With evolving complexities such as global population growth, increasing urbanization, and rising demand for resources, today's emergency managers must possess a greater level of preparedness skills and knowledge to meet the needs of a changing landscape. As these are just some of the issues that will test the readiness and resilience of emergency and disaster management professionals. We all know that the whole world gathered in Glasgow to discuss climate change. We must be prepared for climate change in those disasters. As a nation, how prepared are we? In view of the above, our guest speakers and other supporting speakers were carefully chosen to bring to the conference their deep and diverse set of academic and real-world experiences. I express my profound appreciation for their acceptance of our invitations and presence at this third annual Special Emergency Preparedness Week. Some of our guest speakers, as they come, we will introduce them to you. This annual Special Emergency Preparedness Conference is a national awareness initiative designed to educate and enlighten Nigerians on concrete actions and steps to take to be better prepared for disasters. Yes, this program is also designed to help us learn about disasters, enhance our emergency preparedness, readiness, knowledge, and acquire skills that will help us save lives in our communities. It is also designed towards building a culture of disaster preparedness in Nigeria. This is our hallmark. The hallmark of this institute is disaster preparedness. So we are also working towards ensuring that this program, probably the year 2022, is going to be a program for a whole week. We intend going out to the communities to educate them on how to build resilience when disaster strikes. This conference, the conference sections will provide practical examples and the latest thinking from an inspirational panel of speakers across a variety of industries for you to take to your workplace. It will provide industry updates, case studies, unrivaled networking opportunities for delegates with the responsibility of managing and organizing emergency safety health in their workplaces. This will be a formidable conference organized to bring all professionals, captains of industry, stakeholders, as well as service providers, emergency managers, first responders, disaster response professionals, HSE practitioners, medical and healthcare professionals, engineers, diverse range of stakeholders, as well as all risk managers, the academia, the media, the business continuity planners, the military, the paramilitary, as well as other levels of government, the private sector, volunteer organizations, etc., in disaster management from across Nigeria to share an experience, as well as to network. It will also provide us a forum for creative and innovative problem solving on emergency management issues. Today's event will feature the following: practical disaster preparedness, specialized hands-on trainings and drills using the PPEs. We're going to have drills, we're going to have a technical section. We're also going to have keynote lectures. The Chief of Defense Staff will be presenting the keynote lectures today on the role of the military on large-scale disaster preparedness. And there will also going to be other presentations. There are also going to be presentations on disaster preparedness and response scorecards by organizations. Various organizations that are here, we want you to give us your scorecards, what you have in place as far as disaster preparedness and response is concerned. And also we're going to have this discussion panel, interactive knowledge sharing and feedback section. There will be award presentations to individuals and corporate organizations that contributed in one way or the other to the advancement of disaster management in Nigeria. Then there will also going to be conferment of fellowship award and induction of new members. Those of us that are interested, you want to be a member of this institute, please, you can meet them at the table there and register and be inducted accordingly, and you get the membership certificate of the institute. As the team states, when disaster strikes, it is too late to prepare. Nigeria prepare. How prepared are we? Recent development globally has shown that disasters occur unexpectedly and can happen anytime. Therefore, there's need for us as a nation to build the culture of preparedness to reduce the disaster risk. A nation that fails to prepare for unexpected will not have the capacity to respond swiftly within the time frame or record time to rescue people and save properties if calamity strikes. President George W. Bush in 2005 said, if we wait for a pandemic to appear, it will be too late to prepare. And one day, many lives could be needlessly lost because we failed to act today. Preparing for a crisis is not a loss, but a necessity. The COVID-19 pandemic has proven this. It is therefore very pertinent for us as a nation to be prepared for extreme climate-induced disasters and more deadly public health crises. What we just had last year and this year may be a tip of the iceberg. So we must prepare for more deadly public health crises and epidemics. We should therefore remember that when disaster strikes, the time to prepare has passed. This conference is therefore a clarion call on all Nigerians, the federal, the state, local government, private sectors to be emergency ready by putting in place emergency response, contingency plans, disaster response units in their various organizations. How many of these organizations have disaster response units? From my record, few organizations, notably NNPC, CBN, ANCOR, NDIC, those are two organizations and the military that have disaster response units. What happens to other organizations? So it's expected of us that we must have it and organize drills from time to time so that when disaster happens, we will have the capacity. And practical exercises, not just having the contingency plan in place, organizing the hazards to ensure preparedness. Frequently, to enhance effective disaster response when disaster strikes. Do you have the PPEs? So those are questions that we need to explore in this conference. Recognizing that emergency, crisis and disaster risk management is a multidisciplinary field, the Institute is in collaboration with International Emergency Manager Society teams in Belgium. We are also in collaboration with the International Association of Emergency Managers, IAEM USA. and Bournemouth University Disaster Management Center in UK in providing international disaster management education programs, international certifications, local and international continuous professional development programs. This institute has facilitated 1 or 2 international trainings for the military, especially the Nigerian Army, to Bournemouth University. That was last year, March. We have also facilitated training programs at the Nigerian Army Center and in Lagos for the Nigerian Navy. So this institute will have the capacity because we have people that are drawn from various sectors in this institute. So please, we appeal to you to take advantage of this. We have certifications. We are collaborating with international organizations that are renowned organizations in disaster management. And we also organize senior executive disaster management courses designed to build the capacities and competencies of frontline disaster responders, managers, decision and policy makers, risk managers, military and paramilitary organizations, healthcare professionals, and all that. We have done that over the time, and we are still doing it. We also collaborate with Nigerian universities, the Center for Disaster Risk Management, University of Port Harcourt, the Center for Disaster Risk Management, Federal University of Technology, Mina, and other universities. So we do that. And currently, as we speak, this institute have gone through the first reading and today the second reading at the House of Representatives. We will also like to collaborate with the federal government, ministries, departments, and agencies. And please, I want to also bring this to our notice. The institute is in collaboration with the office of the Secretary to the Federal Government of the Federation, specifically on Chemical and Biological Convention. That is the National Authority on Chemical and Biological Convention. We are in collaboration with them, we are in partnership with them, we are working hand in hand with them. When we had the first program in Port Harcourt, the office of the Secretary to the Federal Government of the Federation was fully represented. So we are appealing to various ministry departments and agencies to collaborate with us, to partner with us in providing human capacity building trainings in disaster preparedness and response, which is our core mark. Once again, I welcome you and I wish you a successful deliberation. Kindly remember, please, we all must take this home. When disaster strikes, the time to prepare has passed. Disaster preparedness is all our collective responsibilities. My warmest regards to you all. Thank you for listening.
You will agree with me that this institute is doing a great job here, preparing us for disaster. Like in early 2020, COVID came upon us, and it looked like we had not had any health institute in Nigeria. It looked like we were not prepared with even paracetamol or Panadol, and everyone ran helter-skelter. And you will agree with me that COVID brought some good too, because right now you can walk into our health institutions and you see facilities. We have the Director General of AKPC, Pastor Inyeti Ekwe. We also have in this program the Director General of the NTA, Akwa-Ibom Muhammad. He is represented here by the General Manager, NTA Uyoku Heat. To grace this event,
the chairman of this conference, and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, who will be represented here this morning, the representative of the Chief of Defense Staff and Service Chiefs, the representatives of the leaders of paramilitary services and organizations here present, the representative of the Director General NEMA, representatives of ministries, departments, and agencies, other distinguished special guests, the chairman, members of Governing Council, and fellows of the Emergency Crisis and Disaster Management Institute, other invited guests, gentlemen, women of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am Brigadier General O.T. Olatoye, the Acting Chief of Training, Linkages and Integration, Army Headquarters, Abuja. I stand before you this morning to represent the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Farouk Yahya, who was invited to deliver a goodwill message at this occasion. Thus, in the course of this message, any personalized word used, such as I, infers that they are the words of the Chief of Army Staff and not mine. Now to his goodwill message. I am delighted to be here today, together with members of the Emergency Crisis and Disaster Risk Management Institute, on this auspicious occasion, which is in two folds. It entails the third annual Nigerian Emergency Preparedness Week, as well as the Maiden Annual Emergency Response and Fire Chief Leadership Conference. I therefore humbly use this opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to the Governing Council of the Institute for inviting me and the privilege to deliver a good message at this noble gathering. Disaster is an emotive term that is understood in different ways, but having the same features of destruction, pains, great loss, human suffering, and trauma. Disasters, either natural, man-made, or a combination of both, affect socio-economic development in Nigeria. The crisis have claimed farmlands, left several people homeless, disrupted business activities, and destroyed property. Banditry and other criminal activities, especially in the northwest, north central, and the northeast, have equally turned former agricultural areas into wastelands. Relatedly, clashes over scarce arable farmlands are becoming prevalent, thereby affecting food security and increasing prices of farm produce and products. Displaced farmers are also drifting towards towns and cities without requisite skills, thereby increasing the already worrisome urban unemployment rate. In view of the aforementioned and other related issues, the importance of Emergency, Crisis and Disaster Risk Management Institute to national development cannot be overemphasized. It is noteworthy that your responsibilities cover the promotion of best practices and development of human capacity to mitigate the adverse effects of natural and man-made disasters through effective and coordinated response. You correspondingly partner with renowned local and foreign organizations, as well as coordinate research efforts on disaster management and related disciplines, which facilitate the proprietary knowledge requisite to developing the capacities of practicing professionals. The vital roles and responsibilities the Institute perform are, however, likely to be on the increase with the effects of global warming and its associated disasters or crises, especially in developing countries like ours. I am therefore confident that the Institute has designed this conference to steer more proactive measures in all disaster management agencies at organizational, state, and national levels. This forum will also enhance synergy amongst the stakeholders to jointly prevent, prepare for, respond to, and promote recovery from the threats as well as effects of disasters. The Nigerian Army plays an integral role in disaster response in the country. Humanitarian assistance and disaster relief tasks are part of the major roles of Nigerian Army formations and units, and they do this to support civil authority. Additionally, selected Nigerian Army units across the country are designated disaster response units and hold special equipment as well as relief materials to ensure prompt intervention when disasters occur. This is done in support of relevant emergency management agencies in collaboration with other security agencies and non-governmental organizations. The Nigerian Army has performed these subsidiary roles relatively well and will continue to do so despite increasing military operations across the country. Thus, permit me to canvass for all to support military operations being conducted by the Nigerian Army and the entire armed forces of Nigeria across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Most crises have either economic or political undertow, while military role in conflict resolution is to create the necessary environment for a whole nation approach for peace. Let me therefore use this opportunity to express the sincere gratitude of the Nigerian Army to the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, for his continuous support. At this juncture, I wish you all successful deliberations throughout the 3rd Annual Nigerian Emergency Preparedness Week, as well as the Maiden Annual Emergency Response and Fire Chief Leadership Conference. I implore you all to make contributions that will not only impact positively on the Institute, but also on her dear nation. Thank you and God bless.
The Chairman of the Conference and Secretary to the Government of the Federation, every represented here, representative of the Chief of the Defense Staff, and other staff, representatives of heads of paramilitary services and organizations here present, representative of the Director General, NEMA, representative of ministries, departments, and agencies here present, other distinguished special guests, the President and Chairman, members of Governing Council, and fellows of the Emergency, Crisis, and Disaster Management Institute, other invited guests, gentlemen, and I guess we have women, and women of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I am